Warning, the following episode contains spoilers about the film The Grudge, released in 2020, as well as Ju-on, The Grudge, and The Grudge 2 from the early 2000s. Hey, we're releasing this episode just in time to do an IABD commercial. That's right, the next It's All Been Done Radio Hour live show is this coming Saturday, January 11th at Mad Lab Theater in downtown Columbus, Ohio at 5 o'clock. And boy, do I have a lot of clever bits planned for this one. What the hell is that? Oh, come on, guys. This sound booth is totally Grudge. Which one of you tracked it in here? Alright, line up, everybody. I have to get my little combs. Let's see those heads. It's time for a hand check. Let's see. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, that's enough fingers. Damn it! Get the shampoo. No, I meant the Grudge shampoo. Not this Ju-on nonsense. What am I supposed to do with that? Fine, I guess. I don't understand any of these directions. Welcome to Marianne's Macabre Review.
Hello everyone, and welcome out to Marianne's Macabre Review. Today we are talking about not Ju-on.
I think that will come up.
Yes, we're going to talk about Ju-on. We're going to talk about The Grudge and all of its iterations. So today we're talking about the 2020 version. Wow. We've got with us today not judges. What are we calling? People that are
panelists. Perhaps.
I said it in the previous one. We're experts. That's what we are. Yes. We have two experts in Ju-on here.
And then me.
And Keith.
In addition to those two experts.
There's Dave. And myself. And Keith. Keith, although he is getting probably to the expert level. He hasn't read the book yet, but I did make him watch Ju-on 1 and then the American version.
I should note that you were making me rewatch those. It's not like I hadn't seen them before.
Rewatch. So we rewatch all of them this week, and I've been rereading the book. And Dave was just watching The Grudge 2, so we're all knee deep in Grudge stuff.
The Grudge number 2 when we walked in, not like also.
It was also yes, the second one. So Dave, you want to give us a synopsis of the 2020
dear God,
version?
what can I say about this movie?
Did you not enjoy it then, you're saying?
No, I hated this film.
Interesting.
I wouldn't say I hated it, but I am more on the lower side of the scale for this one.
So my synopsis will be The Grudge travels to America, and you don't get Kyoko.
Yep.
Or Toshio. And the hapless audience has to sit through an hour and a half of this.
Yeah.
It was not good. Can I start with something?
Yes.
I've made a list.
Uh-huh.
Writer-director Nicholas Pesky. Co-writer Jeff Bueller. Producers Sam Raimi, Rob Tappert, Taka Ichisi. John Cho's agent, Dimitri No. RogerEbert.com film critic Nick Allen, and Sony Pictures. When I die in the grip of a powerful rage, these will be the people I grudge first for allowing this movie to happen.
Well, at least this is John Cho's agent and not John Cho himself.
I feel like John Cho, had he read this script, would have been smart enough to avoid it. So I think he was like, oh, a Grudge movie, cool. And his agent's like, yeah, do this. And then he was too deep in by the time he got to it.
He's like, pump the brakes, I want out.
Although if he did read this, then he will also be in my list.
Right. Yeah, I definitely miss Kayako and Toshio.
I think that was their gravest mistake in this was you get Kayako at the very beginning.
8 seconds of screen time is all she got.
Yeah.
No
So you're saying
Toshio at all.
the mistake should have been not to put her in it at all? Or just...
That would have been worse.
No. I think that there were some good performances in this. Certainly. I think the acting was good. It's just... one of the things that I think that Marianne and I were saying before we went into this... one of the things I liked about the previous couple of iterations we saw were the investigative parts. When the police got involved and they were doing a few things. And I thought maybe there's going to be some more of that since they start off with, they're cops. Okay, great. You're going to do some stuff.
Yeah.
But no, it's just like, it was just a device for the previous cop to have already done the research for, to say, oh yeah, this is how it works.
Yeah.
And,
in which we as the audience, I mean, I think they kind of assume that most people going to see this movie have already seen it.
Yeah.
We already know how it works.
Yeah.
So...
well, I mean, they needed to give us a little, like, here's how this could have worked to get it here, you know?
Yeah.
And that's still, I think, Marianne, coming out of it, you were saying that you didn't agree with the consistency of how...
Right.
Exactly how it could have relocated in that sense, what made it take root. And, you know, I thought, okay, it's because the new tragedy happens, we eventually find, you know, the typical sort of sequence jumping thing they do. Then Marianne also had the point. So what happened with John Cho and his wife? Did they plant another grudge seed there? So is there going to be another house that?
Which was strange to me that they had like the actual people doing the killing, where like it seems like maybe I don't know.
Didn't they do that before, or is it always the ghost sort of like making them do something or pushing their head in or making them jump?
You feel like it's always the ghost like attached to them somehow, but you don't even see that. You see the people like John Cho
all doing the killing.
Oh yeah, they're doing the killing. You don't, and the thing, the one thing that the Grudge did really well, and Andy said I've got some things that Andy had sent me to.
You mean
to
the previous Grudges in general?
Yeah, the previous. Yeah, is that you see Kayako. She starts far away and she's always moving towards you, getting closer. Where this was just jump scare. You don't get that feeling of like Kayako's moving in towards you, because she was always far away, always moving closer. When I was rewatching, I watched The Grudge this morning, and they show her too. Like in this one, it's always so dark. They do whatever they can to avoid showing you who like the characteristics of these. Like on Kayako, they always made it a point to like put the light right onto her blue face, and she's always moving towards you, moving slowly. This is just pop out, gotcha. I hate that. Like I hated that. Like they build the tension by having her slowly moving toward. And even with Toshio, like when the sister is going up the elevator in her apartment, you see Toshio in the back, and as she goes each level up, he's closer and closer and closer every level. And it's like, oh,
so good.
And even if you don't see her, you can see it, like when she's under the covers and that same scene, you can see the covers moving, and then you know she's there. It's not going to be a jump scare, but it's still scary. Like that's what The Grudge did so well for me, like in the original versions of this, and this
didn't have that.
Didn't happen. Like I wrote down a list of like all the things that this writer director used from like the original versions, and he basically lifted them, put them. It's like he watched a highlight reel of the Grudge movie, put those pieces in, like a Cliff Notes version almost. Put these pieces in, said, "Oh, this will make the Grudge fans happy," and stripped away everything that made the original one scary.
So it's like, I found that I did a post last year in Marianne's Macabre Review, February 13th, and I said, The Grudge is being redone as a cop drama. What do you think? And so I had read the EW.com, Entertainment Weekly, article about it, and they were like, yeah, he teases a new take. This was a horrible take on if it was really supposed to be a cop drama. Don't cut out all the investigation. Put all the investigation in. Give us this woman's take on it. I thought, cool, a woman. This will be awesome. No. I mean, the whole thing with the hand and the back of the head.
Yeah, do you want me to read like everything that I saw that he lifted from the originals?
Let's get
okay,
Keith,
go ahead, Keith.
On it, and then we'll go into our list.
Fortunately, I wasn't quite as invested as you two would have been in the franchise in that sense of been like, I wasn't like outraged, but at the same time, I could tell that this wasn't as good or as, and I hate saying things like that. I'm good or bad, that type of comparison, but it wasn't as effective. They were kind of missing the point of how to. I think you did. You already addressed that pretty well. What I would have liked to have seen when I heard that it was going to be a cop drama, as Marianne put it, and this I'm going to refer to a movie that other people really did not like that was similar. The Rings, I guess.
Yeah.
When they started trying to take Ring in a different direction.
Mm-hmm. They did a much better job of that in that movie, I thought, than this movie.
Yes, yes.
I mean, at least it held true to...
Yeah.
I mean, you still have Sadako in it.
Sadako and 7 Days, and...
You watch the video.
Yeah, you watch a video, or, they were moving it to the...
Before you get too far away from my point, though,
Yeah,
what I'm trying to say is that even though people didn't like parts of that, or most of it, or whatever, I mean, I attached the thing that I liked, which was... They were clinically studying it.
Yeah,
that was fascinating.
I really liked that.
And I would have liked if they were going to do something like that here, that they could have done that. The cops or what if they started testing it to the extent of like, does it happen when you step 1 foot in? Is like as soon as you touch the floor, the porch, the threshold, looking in? What would do you have to encounter something?
Yeah,
if they were doing anything like that, even.
Yeah, because clearly they kind of know from the past, that, this happens when you enter this house, or everybody who's been inside this house, this happens to. So you think at that point there would have been a lot of people, like every single cop who would have been in there, every EMT who went in there to bring out a body, like they would all have been
dead.
Yeah.
They seem to get around that by cutting it off as soon as possible. This one family had something happen, like 2 cops were investigating, one wouldn't go in, and the other was like...
what the fuck with him not going in?
Yeah,
and Andy brought that up too yesterday. He's like, they make a point to say, hey, this guy's never went into the house, so that's why he's still around, and you figure, hey, there'd be a payoff at the end of him going in. No, I guess he's too smart.
Yeah.
And also the other guy, we never actually see him die. He's just been around forever.
He just ripped his eyes out.
Yeah. So he must have gone in.
Did he when his arms were straight?
Yeah. Yeah.
He must have gone in at some point, right? Is that the idea? So after that, he makes the call and does all the research off screen and just kind of tells us, hands it to us. So
he's
everything's
got the
sort of unearned.
recording. He's like, have you found my tapes yet? I'm like,
So, yeah.
So
the list is that what we're going to do next.
Let's do the list, yes.
Okay, so these were just having watched the new one yesterday and watching the one from today. These are just things that it seemed like he lifted right from the first one, or even the second one. I'm not all the way through it, but so you have somebody fall, like in the first one, Bill Pullman, very first scene, like flips himself over the balcony. Mm-hmm. The lady, and he splats to the ground. The old lady flips herself over this. And why did she splat so violently from like 3 stories up? Like
3 stories up, and
man, there's a lot of blood.
Exploded. I mean, she was just.
I laughed pretty hard at that.
Yeah. it looked pretty good.
It looked good, but like it didn't make sense.
Yeah. There was no way that you would get critical mass from falling from
like 3 stories.
Also, the other thing is she hit her head on the way down, so that should have also done something to the momentum and kind of done
would have slowed it down.
Yeah, so I mean, they had that coming across a child that has been left alone. So in the first one, both Bill Pullman and Sarah Michelle Gellar come across Toshio just hanging out alone, and John Cho comes across Melinda. Is that the little girl's name in this one? Comes across her just hanging out alone. He's trying to call the dad, like, "Hey, where are you at?" But you're clearly a ghost at this point.
Yeah. Boy, I remember saying that on the phone.
Being drowned in the bathtub, and hands coming out of the bathtub to get you. Security camera footage to get a scare of the ghost. the hand coming out of the hair, trying to burn the house down to get it to stop.
Stop it.
The main character seeing what happened through, like, when they enter the house. Sarah Michelle Gellar and the girl in this one go back and they kind of see how the killings happen through a vision or something.
Okay, I should be right. Making me think of three things I want to talk about. You got of course the noise, but why did everyone in this one do it?
No one
The only guy who broke his neck was the guy who fell down the steps at the end, but everybody did it. That's why I think like the guy's like, oh, that's a cool noise, but he didn't know why it happened. He just inserted it because people, the Grudge fans, are gonna be like, oh, that's what the Grudge does. That's the sound, but that's not what It doesn't just happen to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like in the Grudge 2, they bring the Grudge to America, which I don't know. Did Kayako lose her passport? Why couldn't she come to America?
Yeah.
She was busy.
Okay.
No, that's funny.
I was looking at that. The woman that left and came over, that she was calling at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
She said, "Yoko, I'm sorry to have to leave you.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do it." Yoko is who
the
replaces,
helper in the first one. Yeah.
Yep, and then Sarah Michelle Gellar takes over for Yoko.
Yeah.
So she's doing all the haunting here in Japan. So she's too busy to go to America.
Accurate. Go.
Yes. Well, she was planning like a franchise seed. Like, go ahead and set up over there, and maybe I'll come check on you every now and then.
In the second one, I think Amber Tamblyn becomes the Grudge at the end in Chicago.
Oh.
Sorry, I rolled my eyes so hard.
Yeah,
Amber Tamblyn of all.
She's the
sister to Sarah Michelle Gellar's character.
Yeah, in
right?
part 2.
Oh,
yeah,
Jesus.
So
why? What's so?
I like Amber Tamblyn.
I like her too. I think it should be fucking Sadako.
Oh,
sorry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. Yeah,
it shouldn't tag out and be like white girl now.
Yeah, that's.
It's.
That's my problem. Is that if you are getting grudged, it should always be Kayako.
I
think that comes down to really needing to examine what the rules are and how they work and how far away she can go. They just make them up as they
go.
I think this is the first one where they really just kind of.
Well, it sounded like Grudge 2 did that, right? You're saying that like the current Grudge 2 also.
The one the one from 06 or whatever it is. Yeah,
we should watch Ju-on 2 and see what that one.
I like the premise for that movie. Yeah, I have it.
There's Ju-on 2 and 3, I think.
Oh, is there a Ju-on 3? I haven't seen that. If there
I'll
is
have
one.
to check. But I know that I knew there's 1, 2, and 3 here in America, and then 1, 2, and 3. I think there's a Korean version called The Curse.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So when you were going through your list, you made me think of several things that I wanted to come back to, and the things I sort of like. Well, I just kicked the thing. The things I sort of liked, and things I wish they might have examined it differently, or things that might have related to the other things. Well, three things. So first of all, the fire. At the end of Ju-on, or was it The Grudge? Which one?
I don't know.
One of the cops in Japan was actually in the process of trying to burn the house down.
Yeah, that was
failed,
The Grudge.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this time they succeeded and showed us that it still didn't seem to matter for whatever reason.
And that's what happened at the end of the first Grudge. Is Sarah Michelle Gellar is going in and pretty much finishing the job.
Right.
She throws the light. She tries to throw the lighter. Kayako grabs her arm but she still just kind of flips it and burns the house down. But
okay. So that's good to know. The husband of the woman who he wanted to euthanize had a really interesting take on the way things work, and they were starting to touch on the things I would have wanted to explore.
Yeah,
the idea of people wanting to experiment with how it works. There was something like that came up in Haunting of Hill House. I think I don't want to get too spoilery in that, but the idea that someone might actually want the effect to happen to keep a loved one around.
Yeah, Andy said that too. That was something he wanted me to mention. He said he liked the scene where the grieving husband explained to the suicide lady that he thought that ghosts being around meant his wife might be too. So he actually found that kind of moving.
I like that too, yes.
So the other thing that he said during that was the way that time worked was different there. and he mentioned the idea that anybody who ever entered or would enter would be connected in some way. And that made me think of something that I thought was really cool in the Sarah Michelle Gellar Grudge, where she was having a vision of something that happened in the past, but she was also in it. So she was also like in the past.
Yeah,
so
because
Bill Pullman's character was like, what is Toshio looking at right now?
Yeah.
So it's like something that always happened and would happen.
And they in that scene, her and Bill Pullman kind of touch arms. And like his arm kind of goes through her, and he kind of looks like, what's going on? What's that? Yeah. So that actually makes sense. Because when I was watching that today, I was like, you know what? That's kind of weird. Well, how would he feel that if she's only having a vision? But you know, they that kind of explains that.
So she became a ghost herself somehow retroactively. So the other thing is the security camera footage. I'm trying to remember now in which one was it? Both of them actually.
Both.
Yeah.
So the cop watches the security camera footage from the hotel, or no, the office.
I think he's
building.
back in the office building where it happened.
Yeah, and in both cases, had he entered the house yet before he was able to watch the camera?
Yes, he had already entered the house at that point.
Okay,
yeah, both of them had in both movies.
Yeah.
So in this case, the protagonist, I can't remember what her name is.
Muldoon, Detective Muldoon.
Yeah. So the detective is watching the footage of something that just happened to her. Was able to see one of the Grudge ghosts following her around, and she brings in another guy who just works there, who has nothing to do with the case. They watch it, nothing happens, and he's like, "Okay, you're losing it."
Yeah.
So that's interesting. That I don't know if that's another rule established or whatever, but
it's hard to say.
Yeah. And that's it for now. Until I think of something else. Dominated for a bit.
What else do you have for Andy?
Oh, let's see what Andy had here. Okay. Do you want me to just give over? He only has a few remarks here. So do you want me to give his star rating and all that?
Yeah.
Okay. So Andy said he ended up going with a 1.5 star for the Grudge remake. Went back and forth between 1 and 2 a lot. Decided to split the difference. The Grudge remake is like a Beatles tribute album played by a band that half remembered the songs and only knows 2 chords.
Wow.
They had a good cast too. I don't know the lead, but she was good. John Cho and Betty Gilpin are really good actors.
Yeah.
Lin Shaye is a genre legend. They all deserved better.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing we both talked about is I said my favorite lines were, and Andy's as well, was when the detective's sidekick or whatever, his other detective, the guy who shot himself.
Yeah.
When he was in there talking to Muldoon, and he said, "That house is Grudge."
Yeah.
I cracked up. Oh my god. He's like, that house is Grudge. Like,
yes.
Who writes this? And then later on he said, in Japan, it is also called Ju-on. And I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, they're like, remember?
Oh my god, yeah. And that's the last thing you want to be doing during this movie, is trying to remind me of better movies than the one I'm watching. Like, the best moment in me for the movie was seeing the Ghost House Pictures logo at the beginning of the movie. And from there it was downhill.
I was like, oh, Ghost House, I remember that. I like that. That's a good one. It's the one that...
sorry. Sometimes it causes interference.
The one that got me was... Are you okay? Yes.
Yes. That made everybody laugh.
Oh.
Just like maniacal scream and terror.
That's brilliant.
Oh my god. The guy is like, huh? What is happening with you? Oh.
There were some satisfying reactions for me too, and that goes back to I think it was well acted. Just
look what they were given to work with.
Yeah.
For representing Grudge, as is the industry term, or just certain things where they would, like, especially John Cho when the hand came out of his head. And what the fuck was that? Kind of turning around like what?
Yeah.
Like
you could curtains.
Yeah, you could totally imagine doing that if you felt like something just like grabbed my head.
Yeah. Yeah, like I really like John Cho. That's why I don't think he read the script before he accepted this role. He couldn't have.
Well, think about that. I mean, for any of the actors...
If somebody came up to me and said, hey, you want to be in the new Grudge movie? Yeah. I'd be like, fuck yeah, that sounds great.
Yes, well, let's do it.
And
you're like,
oh man.
Well, no, I'm saying there are a couple of levels to that. You, as someone who would be a Ju-on expert, or an expert in Grudge, if you read the script, you would go, wait a minute, why aren't you doing that? You would pick all these holes in it. But if you're just an actor and you haven't really watched all the films and studied them, you might go, okay, it's a horror film.
It seems legit.
Yeah.
What is ALD?
Oh, yeah. I didn't look that up.
That's another thing I was thinking about when watching this. It seems like they just...
That wasn't really necessary.
Yeah, it wasn't necessary. Like, because the wife already said, she said, I didn't want to be a mother before this. That's really all you need. You don't... Because John Cho seemed to... Like, he wanted to have a family. Yeah. She said she didn't want to have a family, but now that, she's got a baby, a bun in the oven, that she loves it more than anything. Like, more than she could know. Like, why do you have to sign... I just feel like they just kind of hammered in some disability just to make you feel something more empathy for him.
No, wait, when you put it that way, I understand that it's a device to make them discuss it in some way at this stage of the pregnancy. And it caused them to even have that sort of... I do see that shoehorn is a force...
It didn't end up really mattering at all. Like, they didn't do anything with it afterwards. No. It's not they had the baby... And John Cho
has to kill
it or something like that. It's like it was never even born.
It's called Addison's disease. Yeah, so that was just put in there just to slightly tug at the heartstrings, even though they weren't even going to follow through with that.
I mean, just knowing that they could have extended a scene, having them discuss, I didn't really want to be a mother, but now it's happening. And also the same thing with the Muldoon character. They made a point to say like her husband had died, but they didn't really do anything to.
No, I thought she'd have visions of him.
I thought if nothing else, like later on when all this stuff is happening, the current Grudge
and the detective, her partner,
had
just lost his mom.
Yeah.
Why bring any of this up if you're not going to do anything with it? It's completely
unnecessary. Like, at least even have her, like, look at a picture of their family together and say, I really need you right now. I wish you were here. Something like that to make you, like, feel. But they just kind of cut it off and...
Didn't even show a picture of anybody.
It would have made sense if they'd been interacting with the husband. The one who was, he was saying that I want her to live on in this house. If they had that knowledge coming, if they were going to interact with her, but they never did.
Yeah, so it seems like they tried to give you, I don't know, just they tried to give you something to make you feel more for the characters, but didn't do anything to make you feel for the characters. Like
shortcut characterization.
Yeah,
the sort of thing you would even just give to the actor as motivation for these are the things your character has gone through that you aren't necessarily going to talk about or do, but it's just something for you to think about to know.
Yeah.
But you're just like letting the audience in on that too. It's almost like the comical, like Roger from American Dad sort of thing of like, I'm gonna do this thing, but I also have this elaborate backstory that is not going to play into the actual interaction I'm about to have. But
So I agree with everything everyone has said. I was quite disappointed with it. It's not a Grudge film if it's not Kayako and Toshio and a little bit of.
God, I'm sorry.
What?
This film is not Grudge.
This film is not Grudge.
In Japan, this film is not Ju-on.
I know. All right. I know that it's. But still. God damn it. I'm sorry. Please continue.
That line made me laugh so hard. I loved it.
However, I don't know. It just doesn't translate well. I didn't feel like there was enough rage for this to become a the Grudge house, we know the backstory for Kayako, and so if this was going to be a Grudge house, you would expect Kayako to be there, not this woman that's like, let me show you, and her husband seems to be like upset or something, so she kills him.
But I think that was only because she came over with her. That's the only reason anything happened. It wasn't because of their rage. It was because Kayako had influenced her. So I mean, it wasn't even true rage. It was just
it's just
something that was forced upon. Influenced upon them. So
I don't.
I was trying to unravel that when we first started talking about it in the car on the way here. Just the idea that it seemed to be the narrative was that hand in her head. Kayako's planting a seed of herself to take to America to set up a franchise, but. It doesn't seem like there's no reason why it should take root because, yes, it wasn't like...
There was no anger to keep.
It wasn't the original...
So that house should not really be a Grudge house. I mean...
It should not be Grudge.
The rage was... the rage was not built in that area. It was transferred over from Japan.
Just remembering, are you okay? Yep. Sorry.
No, I think that was genuinely enjoyable. It would be really funny that you can kind of imagine being either person in that situation. It's like you think you're fine, and then suddenly just bloody hand. Like, what the fuck? Ah! What are you screaming at?
So let's do our ratings because we don't need to extend this any longer. We
don't need to set up a Grudge franchise.
We are not setting up a Grudge franchise.
Even though you have a grudge about how it was...
Okay, one question. Did you see any of the trailers for this?
I saw one.
Did it have the hair in it? Where it
it was a while back because I tried to do the Keith and avoid all the trailers. So whenever they popped on, I would either turn the channel or close my eyes, close my ears. So I don't think it had the hair in it. I remember seeing John Cho go to the bathtub, and that was it. That was the only piece of the trailer I remember.
You were like, oh boy, nudity. Nothing managed to take hold if a trailer even came on TV while I was watching or anything, because I just kind of...
Keep talking, Keith.
I just kind of looked away if that were going to come up.
See, that's all...
Right. Well, it'll be easy. Well, I don't know if we need to edit or whatever. All right, so the reason why I think Marianne was bringing this up is she was saying in the car that she almost wished that she had seen some of the trailers or had more spoilers to prepare her for what was not going to be in the movie. And she was wondering if other people, having seen the trailer, would have been misled by some, the aspects of Kayako that were showing up in it.
Yeah.
Oh, this little teaser thing.
And it's funny because the hair didn't even really play a role in it. Like, I mean, especially the way that...
There was no hair. That's the only thing that I saw of the entire thing for the Grudge.
Yeah, and that's one thing that it's known for, too, is, the long hair coming out in clumps.
Why don't you describe the teaser you just watched?
Okay, so it's a Happy New Year's trailer from The Grudge, and it's two champagne glasses with champagne in it, and one has the Kayako hair. They're about the same, actually.
Yeah, they're very similar.
Kayako's hair coming out and snaking out and grasping the other glass, and it's just like, why have the Kayako hair if you're not crawling around? I mean,
because they want to get the Grudge fans to come to see the movie.
I know. It's just it didn't.
It's like
I wish instead of this movie, which they apparently intended as like a sequel or following a direct timeline from the original, I wish they just would have rebooted it, done like a remake, and kept it in Japan and just found something new, because this movie didn't do anything new. It didn't expand on anything that the original. It
took away. From the original.
I mean, it was terrible. Like I despise this movie. Like,
right now, so is this doing the same thing that Grudge 2 did?
Grudge 2 is way better than this.
No, I'm not. That's not my point. I'm just saying you're saying they didn't do anything new. I'm just trying to establish
in the
whether
Grudge 2, parts of it it was about half and half split in Japan and America.
Okay.
So they had a Japanese or an American Japanese high school where they had some students from America, studying in Japan, and they had some of the students, over there getting grudged, and then they also had Amber Tamblyn, who had been in Japan to go visit
to find her sister.
Yeah. She goes in the house. She goes back to Chicago, becoming the American Grudge, I guess.
But it sounds like that would have been a lot better, yes. But.
Yeah, I mean, it was not good, but they at least kept...
I have to watch it now. We're gonna have to watch it.
Yeah,
eventually.
I mean, they at least kept
someday
the Grudge formula.
Yeah.
I mean, semi-intact.
Okay, yeah.
So, Keith, give us your rating. I want to...
10! Everything was 10! No, I just...
10. What is... I want a gore rating, or creep factor rating, and a entertainment value.
I'm... In situations like these, it's almost more entertaining for me to be around people who are that upset about things that have happened. That raises the entertainment factor for... almost like, I don't want to say it ironically, but it just kind of...
It makes your score higher.
Yeah, I mean, I laugh in a certain way that I would... It could have been it could have been completely dull or nothing, but there were things that made me...
With me, I mean, that I guess...
I don't know. I think that there's still things that would have made me laugh regardless. I mean, I knew enough to find some of those things funny, but it's even funnier that you're like, no. But that's more like a retroactive thing. I was entertained around a 5, probably. There's a laugh. The acting was good. There were some good effects. Mm-hmm. And I'll leave it at that.
I'm going to have to say they were bad on the effects. They relied too much on darkness, and for the CGI, I felt like the dad that kept haunting the police detective was done so poorly. Like the flies always coming out of his mouth. He was always in darkness because it was poorly rendered CGI. That's where I was like, I would prefer just put some makeup on it. Do like a Kayako and like put some makeup on and do it. Do the gore with actual makeup and not CGI. Okay.
To clarify, I'm not trying to say that I was paying attention to the extent of this is expertly rendered CGI. I'm just saying that the idea of what they were presenting for, like the chopping of fingers and the car wreck body, whether or not that made any sense the way it was there, how much decay had happened or why. Just like, I like the imagery that they're presenting. That's it.
Okay. Dave, what did you think?
Gore factor... There was some gory moments, like Keith said, like when she's cutting off her fingers and when she splatted from the...
Like,
yeah. That was pretty gory, and that's something that you didn't really get in the originals, more because they were PG-13 and not an R rating. So you got a little more of that in this one. It wasn't like completely over the top or anything like that. So I mean, as far as gore goes, I'd give it like a 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
Entertainment value, 1. I will give it a 1 because the guy said that house is Grudge, and in Japan it is Ju-on. That made me laugh. Aside from that, I thought it was horrendous, and I was not entertained at all.
At one point in time in the movie, I said, "This movie's only 90 minutes. What? Why is this? Why are they taking such a long time on this? Where's everybody else? Where's Kayako? Where's Kayako and where's Toshio?" And I kept going, God, and if I find I woke at my watch, it's not a good thing.
And I can't be sure this is true. I'll have to ask Andy, but I seem to remember him like keep looking at his watch like during the movie, like what's going on here? Is this? I saw him like looking at his watch like sporadically, so I don't know if he was checking the time or what. But one thing I did think of is when I came out of the theater, I told Andy, I said this movie kind of reminds me of Jason Goes to Hell, where you get Jason at the beginning and then just other like fillers throughout the rest, but you don't even get Kayako at the end of the movie like you get Jason at the end. So. Woof.
Wolf, exactly. I am going to Keith.
Again, it's similar. I quibble about like the idea of what entertainment actually is when we say things like that. The subjectiveness of it. For me, for example, like when that very end of the movie, and Marianne said, "It better not be credits."
Better not be credits.
Credits, and then they stayed on the front of the house rolling those name credits. You're expecting something to happen, nothing else happens.
You get like 3 or 4 minutes just of the house.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, something's got to happen here.
Then black credits,
but just like the rest of the movie, nothing happens.
And so for me, those things are funny enough that it entertains me in a certain way that I
They're
think
just
would be
trolling the audience.
Yes, exactly. It's like yeah get them. But
Keith, you should not be gleeful in my sadness.
it was so fun.
Oh, and the one thing I do want to say about the reason I had put this film critic from RogerEbert.com on here is because he gave this movie 3 out of 4 stars.
Huh.
And Roger Ebert gave the original Grudge a 1 star. So I feel like Roger Ebert should just come and grudge this guy for like ruining his website.
Yes, he should. My goodness. Oh my goodness. Anyway.
That is where that comes into play again. Someone who hasn't watched the previous movies enough to understand how it should work, I wonder if their opinion would be higher than you're seeing how it's being kind of glossed over and some of the things being kind of twisted out of it, like the.
And I didn't read his review, so I don't know what he said about it, but just the fact that he gave it 3 out of 4 stars, my vision went to red.
So I would give it gore factor 4, the exploding grandma at the end. The
guy ripping his eyeballs.
The guy ripping his eyeballs. We didn't even get to see it. We just saw the blood on the orderly and stuff. That fingers being chopped off. We did get some decomposition with the husband of the old lady while he was sitting in the chair. Even though I don't know how he got to that chair. Do you think the old lady?
I wondered about that too.
Him
yeah.
After she stabbed him in the neck.
Well, that's when Kayako had some spare time,
and she's like,
she kind of
made the trip.
Yeah, they call her in with an emergency. She's like, she just left the husband on the floor there. She's like, God damn it! All right, I'll be on a plane. I'll be over there for a second.
Okay, this is a job for you.
Entertainment value 2, only because of Dave's grudge list. Alrighty, folks. This has been Marianne and Keith and Dave talking about The Grudge. Oh, wait, no. Grudge.
Wait, is this called The Grudge 2020 or just Grudge 2020?
I think it's The Grudge.
The Grudge. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Audience, you've all been grudged.
Yep. The Grudge. Yep.
You know, for all we know, we didn't stay all the way to the end of the credits. Like
I looked, there's nothing at the end.
So Kayako, it wasn't like Kayako popping up and said, "You just got grudged." It wasn't like that.
Oh, jeez. There was a preview. Well, hold on. Before we wrap up.
And
let's wrap up first.
Kayako holding a shotgun, going.
Quiet Place 2, A Grudge 2.
Quiet Place, A Quieter Place. The quietest place. Anyway. We'll be back soon with another movie, TV show, or book. This is Marianne, Dave, and Keith. Signing off.
That's not going to come
That's
across.
not a good one.
Yeah, it is not.
Alrighty. Bye, folks. Who's got the time?
This house is Grudge.